On Tuesday, March 11th, 2025. I'm going to call each of your names and please respond here or present. Delaney, Ryan, and Liz are not available today. I also note that Carol currently is not here. So, Jeffrey Stelinek.
Here.
Thomas Rust.
Here.
And Lisa.
Lisa Miller here.
Lisa Miller, perfect. And Marcia Coupe here. Okay, excellent. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Approved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, agenda approved. We have now brief announcements from staff, commissioners, council liaisons. We've set aside 5 minutes for this. Any announcements? Okay, excellent. Item number 4. This is the public comments time. The public comment section is for the commission to receive comments. No discussion or action may be taken on any of these items that are not listed on the agenda. Do we have any public comments? All right, excellent. Item number 5, we have the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and non-controversial, require no discussion, and are expected to have a unanimous support. The consent calendar will be enacted by one motion. Commissioners may request items be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action. A, Senior Citizen Commission minutes from November 2024 and January 2025. Recommendation, approve minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Say aye. Aye. Are there any questions? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Jeffrey, a second?
I'll
Second.
Nope.
Thomas and Lisa, great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, excellent. Item number 6, senior housing. Yay! Okay, we've set aside as long as you want, really. Meeting's going super fast. Commissioners will receive an overview of resources from our 2 special guests that are here today, which is Jennifer Block.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. And Patricia, do you prefer Patty?
Patty.
Okay, and Patty Bryant. Rental Resource Administrator to come, oh, okay, sorry. So I now welcome our special speakers. And without further ado, let's hear all about senior housing.
Sure. So I'm Jennifer Block. I'm Management Analyst in the Department of Social Services and Housing. Thank you for having us. We're here on behalf of Dana Bailey, who is our director of the department. Unfortunately, she could not make it today. But I just wanted to provide you guys all with an overview of kind of what our department does, which includes the housing piece of it. So first, we're kind of a new department. The City Council approved the creation of our department back in 2021. So we just started within the last few years, and we have finally gotten a full staff of 6 members. So we have a manager, and then we have our affordable housing manager, and then we have 2 homeless outreach people, and then Patty does a lot of administrative support and a lot of stuff on housing, and I'm the management analyst for the department. And so I'll first start with our mission statement. So it's to develop equitable social services, affordable housing policies, and programs to serve extremely low income residents, including individuals experiencing housing insecurities and homelessness. So let me go over a little bit of what we do on a day-to-day basis. First of all, we are funded mostly through housing and urban development grants, so HUD grants. So we have a community development block grant program, and through that program, we fund public service grants. So like they're little micro grants, usually between $5,000 and $20,000, and it helps fund services. We do have like little grants this year. Example, help with Paul's Place with their programs, Stake, Yellow Crisis Nursery, the Yellow County Food Bank. That's just a few of the organizations we help fund and work with for public services. So it's homeless outreach, rental payments, like assistance if somebody needs help with rental payments, food banks, and like the homeless shelter. We do that, and then we also fund public facilities projects in the city. So you see like the curb cuts that they're doing around the city for ADA, that's CDBG funded. We helped fund a little bit of the new patio that's out here on the senior center. And then also like the little exercise circuit that's out there, that was also CDBG funded. And under HUD, we also have the home program, which it's for creating and retaining affordable housing. So right now we have a project that we're working with Mutual Housing to help replace like water heaters and floors in some of the mutual housing sites within the city that need replacement. So those are a couple of the items under HUD. And then part of our main focus this year has been, we're working on our consolidated plan update, which is required by HUD. And this is for the next 5 years, for 2025 to 2029. And that's kind of our summary of our actions and activities and the resources we will be using for the next 5 years. And we're actually in the process of drafting that, and it's going to be going to our Social Services Commission next Monday for review, and then next to council for review and approval. So that's a big thing, and it will tell us like kind of our plan for what we'll be doing in the next 5 years with our HUD funds. Another big thing that we do is, that's not HUD related, is homelessness and homeless outreach. So our department, we just completed last year our homeless strategic plan, and it's kind of a vision and our priorities for the next few years for how we want to kind of respond and how we vision like homeless outreach. And so we're in the process of implementing that plan right now. And we have 2 members of the Social Services Commission that are working currently on creating a steering committee to implement that plan. If you guys are interested, if anybody is interested in participating on that steering committee, there will be an application process coming out, I want to say this month. And if anybody's interested, you can let us know, and we can let you know when that will be happening. And then for homeless outreach, we've been working with the police department. I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard that we had the encampment response protocol that came out earlier this year that we worked with the police department on. And we have our 2 homeless outreach staff that are helping with that, and our steps for that are engagement. So engagement's our first step for homeless outreach, and that is with our outreach team, and they try to connect individuals with services. Next is compliance, and that's for our outreach partners work with the police department for individuals that are possibly in crisis or might need a little bit of further assistance. And then the last step is enforcement, and I think we talked to Dana this morning, and she said that we haven't done any enforcement yet, but it's just there if needed, and that's if engagement and compliance doesn't work. So the last program that we have for homelessness is our winter shelter. And we run the winter shelter from December, and this year it's running through the end of this month. And we have sheltering at Paul's Place, and then also at High Wheel Flats, which is the motel over on the east side of town. The housing at High Wheel Flats is reserved for seniors that are possibly medically compromised, or if we feel that they shouldn't be like in communal shelter or shouldn't be outdoors. We keep them, we house them at High Wheel Flats, and they're at Paul's Place and at High Wheel Flats. We try to connect individuals with the county's mobile medicine team, and Turning Point, who does case management. And then the last big thing we do, and what you guys have all been waiting for, is housing. And I will leave this to Patty to talk to you more about our housing.
I have some things I'm gonna pass out, so I'll just slide over here for a bit. So, as you've heard, I'm Patty Bryant, the administrative specialist for the department. I work mostly with the Affordable Housing Manager on our affordable home ownership program, our affordable rental program, which is really more of a monitoring program, fair housing, and rental resources. Affordable housing in Davis, as you know, is challenging for seniors, as any other population that has special needs, like people with disabilities or people who are mentally impaired. It's difficult to find housing. Typically throughout the United States, you'll find that there's a 3 to 5 year wait list. I contacted our 7 property managers of our senior complexes this morning and asked them what their typical wait list is, and it ranged from 1 year to 5 years. So I think we're kind of right in that range, and I asked them, do you ever have, like, you've gone through your whole list and have a vacancy? And the answer was no, they really don't. So we have, and I'll pass the list out in a second, we have 7 complexes that have 256 units, and those are 1 to 2 bedroom units. And in order to be able to be eligible for those units, you have to be at 50% area median income, which for a household of 1 is about $40,000. The other housing that we have that's rental housing, you've probably all heard of, is the Gamut housing. Is everybody here familiar with Gamut? No?
No.
Okay, oh, good. I thought I was just gonna tell you something you didn't know. So you already knew. So anyway, Gamut stands for, it's the street names, Glacier, Albany, Marden, Arena, and Tufts. So in those neighborhoods, we have single-family homes that are available for rent. To be in one of those homes, you have to be at 80% income, and you have to have 2 people in the household. Typically, those homes, while there have been seniors in those homes, like a couple, older couple, typically those homes are tend to be rented by families. And so that's the Gamut program. The other thing about that, I was talking with the property manager about it recently, and of the 20 homes, there's only 2 of them that are 1 story. And I asked her, you know, are they, if they needed to be, could they be accessible for somebody who can't, needs a wheelchair or something like that? She said one of them probably could not be retrofitted, and the other one, it's a possibility that they could be. But the thing with the Gamut homes is once people get in there, they really don't leave. So the turnover is very low on that, and the wait list is very long for the Gamut programs. Let's see. For the affordable homeownership program, so these are for people that are at 120% of the area median income, which ranges from like $98,000 for a 1 household family to about $440,000 for a 4 household family. It's really difficult for people to purchase these homes. In the last year-ish, maybe year and a half, the homes have ranged from a low of $338,000 to a high of $616,000. So we have 125 of these homes. 60 of them, you may know, are in Green Terrace. So about half of them are in the area in town called Green Terrace. It's in South Davis. It's kitty corner from Safeway. and there are townhomes in there. So we have about half of the homes over there, the rest are spread out throughout the city. And in order for a family to purchase one of these homes, realistically, they have to be making about $90,000 and have about $50,000 to put down on a down payment in order to get the mortgage low enough so that they can afford to be in it. So that's our affordable housing program. And so one of the things the department's been talking about is, can we do any kind of down payment assistance for that sort of thing? The other thing is, these homes are pretty old, and there is no incentive for the homeowner to make any improvements to the home, because the home, regardless of the state that it's in, will appreciate by neighborhood at a certain percentage. So most of them are appreciated 3.7% compounded annually, and the ones in Green Terrace appreciate at 5.5%, which is almost fair market value, which is why those are so expensive. Plus there's a HOA fee on top of that. So what happens a lot with the Green Terrace homes is that it's just really challenging to find someone that can income and asset qualify for those homes. So those homes will often be sold outside of our program because we can't find a buyer that can afford that program.
What are the HOA fees just?
You know, that I don't
Oh,
know.
that's
I'm thinking when people talk, because they change all the time, they're between $100 and $200. And it's not the only property. There's some, Verona, we have some homes and they have an HOA fee over there as well. We don't handle that part of it. That's, specifically the association. But I know that a lot of people on the wait list have said, don't let me know, I don't want to know about the Green Terrace homes because I can't afford them and I can't afford an HOA fee on top of it. So it's kind of disappointing. And then Marcia, you had asked about the affordable developments that we have. And really the best people to talk to you about that is our community development department, because they're the ones that are planning it. You had asked it earlier about Bretton Woods, and I get calls every day on Bretton Woods and when's the wait list coming out. I will be doing a wait list at some point, but right now we don't have a developer that is the person that's going to develop that project. The last I did read, you were right, the last I did read was 150 units for senior housing, but we don't know, because that's all still being discussed right now. The fair market homes are going up, as you see.
Right.
But those would be built out first, and then all the other affordable rentals will be built out after that. So when I keep checking, kind of with my boss every couple of months, like, where are we with that? And I tell people when they call, check back in 3 months. Realistically, it's probably like a year that we're before we start a list, because all those other homes have to be built out and they have to find an affordable housing developer to do that. So, but if you want more information about the details on any of the affordable housing, 2 places. You can call, obviously, the planning department and talk to a planner, because they'll have all the ins and outs of how many homes they're thinking that will be set aside that will be affordable for any of the areas in town. Or I don't know if you've looked at the website, but they have a really good page that says under review, pending construction, and currently under construction. And you can see all the individual ones, and then you can click on and get more information on that. So I have some questions also that I'm hoping might come up in the course of the conversation for you all, but I'll open it up, or you can ask Jennifer and I questions.
I have a ton of questions.
Okay.
I have a really big question, because I do look on there.
I just want to make sure we acknowledge public comment first before we go into any discussion, unless it's a clarifying question.
Okay.
And if there's anyone from the public that had any comments, and then we can continue discussion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Does anybody from the public have any questions?
I have 2 friends who are coming here, but I think they could afford to maybe buy, but eventually they would need to rent somewhere.
Mhm.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
And how would they go about?
Yeah, so I do have a list, and I'll put it out. Oh, I meant to do that first before we get into it. I have a few things I wanted to pass out. Okay, so this is our affordable housing list for seniors. And I'll let you guys pass those down.
Oh, super, thank you very much.
And then this is the affordable housing wait list. So you don't have to be a senior to be on, those, but those are specifically for seniors, are 62 and older.
Great resource,
I also
thank you.
brought, Jennifer had mentioned the homeless strategic plan, if you guys want, I brought one copy that's kind of big, it's on our website. And then, one of the topics I thought that might come up is, if you've heard anything about shared housing, that seniors are interested in shared housing. Okay, so Dana, who's our director, is working with this organization called Key Connections, and they have a shared housing program.
Right.
So I wanted to, this is their flyer, this is an individual flyer, and then this is their PowerPoint presentation. And the places where their stickies really explains quickly the information.
Oh, yeah, we got this, we got this at the last meeting.
This is one.
I just want
Yeah.
to take a picture of it so that I
thought it was
know.
on staff.
And then Dana wanted me to pass out these, sorry she couldn't be here.
Well, thank you so much.
And then we have these new postcards that we're putting out for the community, for our homelessness population. People often don't know when they encounter homeless or the unhoused population, how to respond. So this is a little postcard that helps people with information on the back about what your response might look like.
Oh, great, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Patty, we had Gail come because she came and presented
she did?
to the commission at our January meeting.
Oh, okay.
Part of a panel of Agency
That could
on
be for
Aging.
Thomas
She
because
came
he missed that
yesterday.
meeting.
We had a
Ah,
dozen
okay.
people come to learn about
Oh,
the
good.
the
About
connections,
shared
and
housing.
we're thinking of having her here on a quarterly.
Oh, that would be great.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
No, it
I
sounds
am,
like a great program.
yeah, we had it in the scene, but now thinking about it, for any future ones, I'll just make sure to make sure to highlight it so that you guys can send folks our way, since we do wanna have her on a
Okay,
regular.
and I am gonna put that on our website.
Yes, oh,
Yeah.
perfect, even
I'm just
better.
gonna take a picture of the cover and then we can pass it along. So, I had a quick question. Am I speaking out of turn, Maria, or something?
No.
Fine? Okay,
Great.
a quick question. So I've been all over your website, and just trying to educate myself as much as possible on what's being built in Davis. I have a grandson here who lives with 6 other guys in a 2-bedroom house. I mean, I know you hear the story constantly.
Yes.
But one of the things I was really surprised about, and I'm just hoping you can enlighten me, is the townhouses that are being built downtown. I think there's like 12 or 14 of them. And I know that they were originally supposed to have a low-income opportunity there as well. And now that's been bought out by the developer. And I was really surprised through just exploring online that whole process. And I even wrote, I think Thomas is your guy? Okay. I even wrote him a quick letter. I was too late, unfortunately. And I said, really, why are we selling the rights to developers to not have to build low-income housing when the whole point of getting these projects approved is to have, I believe it's 15% set up, which is nothing, it should be 50%. Having, so we can't even keep it that little teeny tiny, and I know it's not your fault, but I'm just curious, how did that happen? Why did we go from, we're gonna make everybody build at least 15% low-income housing, to, oh, but you, Mr. Developer, if you don't wanna pay it, if you don't wanna build it, then just pay us the cash,
Right.
and we'll call it a day. That shocked the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to answer that question for you, because that really is from the planning department.
Okay.
And that was really kind of a council decision. I know in the consolidated housing plan that those are the two options. You can either build the 15% or you can do these in lieu of fees. And I was not at the council meeting, I'm not sure why that ended up going down the way it did.
Do we know when that became an option?
I think as far as I understand, it's always been an option. I might not have that right, but my understanding is the in lieu of fees have always been part of an option here in Davis. Not every developer has had to put in affordable rentals.
Well, that's pretty obvious,
Yeah.
how limited our resources are. So when you said you're having a community person that will be handling the apartments, a community development person, is that through you or through the builder?
Oh, so I'm not sure. I
For the
understand
150
Right.
senior so-called affordable
Right.
apartments that will come online at some point? you had mentioned having a community development person that would eventually
The
handle
planner,
that?
yeah, so the planner would work with whomever, there's probably an RFP process or something that goes out to find an affordable housing developer, someone that specializes in building that type of housing.
Right.
And the planner would work with them on that. And that is one of the things that would come out, is the 15% versus the in lieu of fees, what the affordable housing would look like. All of that information is done through our planning department. And those are done with the planners and the developer when they sit down together and negotiate.
So they don't even have somebody right now that's in line to build those apartments, those affordable apartments?
Last I checked, which was just a couple weeks ago, Dana had said not yet. They do not have, for Brentwoods, they do not currently have a developer in mind. Or on board. They might have somebody in mind, but not on board.
That's a pity, because when I moved here 5 years ago, I saw the whole development, yeah, I won't get into it. I know what a mess the whole thing has been. I've been following it, not closely, but close enough to know that we don't have enough time in our lives to go through what happened. But you mentioned Mutual Housing, which I know them very well. And I think they're a fantastic company, by the way. I mean, I'm very on board with them. Are they a possibility for developing those flats?
I would assume they are, but I'm not in on those conversations.
Okay, I got it, okay. Excellent, thank you. I'm sure other people have questions.
You said that you, if I got your quote right, you have 60 homes. What do you mean you have 60 homes? You own them, or you have access to them, or what does that mean?
So are you talking about the affordable ownership homes?
Yeah.
So the city of Davis has set aside 125 homes that are in our affordable home ownership program. 60 of those happen to be in Green Terrace. Those are not owned by the city, they're privately owned, but they have deed restrictions so that the homes will permanently be affordable. So that's where the 3.75 and the 5.5.
So how does the city do that?
How does the city?
How does the city, you say that you have access to 60 homes. The city tells them you need to be part of this program, or we're
Yeah,
kicking you
so
out of the
when-
city, or how
So
does that
when those
work?
were being developed, I don't know how many years ago, decades ago, right? When those homes were first being developed, they were developed with this intent in mind to be affordable homes.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of going another direction, but I don't want to confuse things. I'm going to stick with the 125 homes. So of those 125s, they were developed to be permanently affordable. So when there was a wait list to get on the list if you were interested in purchasing it, and there was an income and asset requirement for that. And so what keeps them affordable is the deed restriction. So there's a number of different deed restrictions on each property. For example, if you were to buy one of those homes, you would have to live in the home. Whoever's on title has to live in the home. So I couldn't buy it for my college-age student. It can't be a rental. It can't be a second home. It has to be your primary home. You have to live in it. So that's one of the deed restrictions on it. And then the other deed restriction is how much it can increase in value, how much is compounded annually. So, for example, when one of those will come up for sale, I will punch in through an Excel spreadsheet the calculation of how many days it's been owned by the person, what they sold it for, and the spreadsheet comes up with the compounded average. So then we give that to the person that wants to sell the property, and we say, this is the maximum sales price you can sell it for. You can sell it for lower, and they have had to sell them for lower in the Green Terrace because they're not, I guess, as widely wanted in town. So you can sell it for less, but you cannot sell it for more than this maximum sales price. So that's how we keep it affordable.
And how do you define affordable?
It's
I'm guessing it's a
120.
moving target.
Yeah, it's 120% of area median income. So Yolo County Housing, every year they put out what that relates to. So it's based on household size from I think it goes up to 8 people in the household. And that's one household for 120 right now is about 98,000. And I just looked at the 4 before I came, it's about 140,000. So a person would have to make about that much money in order to purchase one of those homes.
Just an observation, yesterday my wife and I drove through the new housing complex over by the hospital. And we went into a house that had 1,200 square feet, and it was more than $700,000, and it was not fancy.
No, I've been.
How does that make any sense
Yeah,
to anyone?
yeah,
I mean, if you're a beginning professor coming into, you could not live in that house.
no.
Yeah, I've been
So-
in some of this too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Some are a million in there, there's no
Yeah.
land.
I would agree with you.
Do we have a list of the houses that are for sale for affordable, that are considered affordable housing?
No, and one reason we don't have that is because people are living in those homes and we don't wanna put that out publicly.
Right.
These are, you know, you have to be low income to be in these homes, right?
Right.
So how it works is if you wanna get on a wait list to purchase a home, you call the city and I put you on a wait list.
All right.
And then we kind of go in wait list order, and people will specify if they want a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom home, or if they don't care if it's 2 or 3-bedroom. And then as one of those homes become available, I put it out to people on the wait list.
How
So
big
those
is your
people-
wait list?
How big is the wait list? Right now, we are at 41 people. When I started started this maybe 2 years ago, we were at 800. The list was really old. It had people on there that were parents trying to buy for their college. It had realtors on there. So we sent an email out, sent several emails out to everybody to say, you know, do you want to stay on the wait list or not? If you do, please submit this application back. And we pared it down, and we were initially at about 125. And people have bought, or people have moved away, or people have said, I can't do this right now. So right now, you can pass 3 times before you get removed from the wait list. If you're removed, you can get back on. But we see this, I'm starting to see this cycle now of people who make 40,000 that are on our wait list to buy a $400,000 or more house, that do not have the income to buy the house, do not have the down payment to buy the house. So they go on and off and on and off. So we've been trying to work with them to suggest, we don't recommend, but suggest that they take a home buyer's education class that can help them, you know, learn what they need to do to actually begin to save and purchase for a home like that. So we do make recommendations. I put out some tips on how to buy you know, what to do before you try and buy a home, talk to a lender, find out what you can actually afford, so that they're not just coming on and off the list.
Do you know the latest time, when you last had one of the deed restriction homes added to the list?
There have not been any added to the list in a very long time.
And do you know why, or is it
I
talking
think
about
those
it?
were, those were developed with that intent in mind.
Okay.
And I don't know, I guess my thought is that no others have been set aside for that purpose. And I don't know that they will be.
Ever. I have a question probably for you, Maria. Where does the money go when there's an in lieu of fee? Can we look into that? Does it go into a low-income housing something?
Yeah, I would definitely have to look into that.
I believe it
She
goes
may
into
know.
that, it might,
General.
I don't know, I'm not sure if it's the housing trust fund exactly, but it goes into a pot of monies that's specifically set aside for housing purposes.
Okay, so a housing trust fund that could potentially buy property, right?
Right, yeah,
But
or
doesn't.
provide down payment assistance,
Right.
or provide
Right.
like rehab for these,
Right.
people who've been in these houses for 20 years, they can't afford to put maybe a new roof or something on their house.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've thought
So it's
about,
really the maintenance more than.
yeah.
So you're saying the money goes back into low-income housing kitty, or just goes into a housing kitty?
I'm honestly, a lot of these questions are over my pay grade to answer. So I don't wanna get that answer wrong. They are set aside for housing, and I don't know, and I know it's for affordable housing, but I don't know what happens after that. I'm not sure if it's a housing trust fund or just a different fund that's set aside for housing. So that would be a good question for the city manager's office.
Right, yeah, because it's quite a bit of money. And when I was trying to track it on your website, I couldn't like follow like where does it end up. So it's an excellent question, because, you know, if they're buying out the affordable housing clause, one would hope, oh, we're gonna have that money in the affordable housing kitty. That's not what I could find, but again, maybe it is.
Yeah, that's what I've been told, that it does get set aside for other affordable housing needs. But that's as much as I know.
So how many houses total can people buy in Davis that are considered part of your affordable housing plan?
There's 125.
125.
Yeah, and part of where my brain was gonna go in a different direction before, but I didn't wanna mix it up. So there's these 125 that have been set aside, they're permanently affordable. Decades ago, when they were starting this idea of affordability, they had what they called workforce housing. So if you lived and worked in Davis, you could get a house, they would help you with a down payment, and then if you moved within like 5 years, you had to pay all of it back. If you moved within 10, you had to pay a certain percentage, and at 20 years, if you'd stayed in the home for 20 years, the loan was forgiven. And those houses, the issue with those houses, there's 443 of those did not stay affordable. So those were affordable just that one time, and then they were allowed to appreciate at whatever fair market value is.
It's a shame. Oh, it's a crying shame.
Where did they come from again, the origination of the workforce housing?
That I don't know.
Okay. Certainly more of that sort of thing.
So the housing plan, and I know you guys did fairly recently, a whole 5-year plan for Davis. The housing plan, as far as you know, does not include any worker housing for the city of Davis?
I'm not aware of any, I don't know if you are aware of any, but again, I think that's over our pay grade.
Yeah, the plan, I believe came out, we had a piece of the affordable part of it, but I believe that was community development.
Yeah.
So lots of different departments,
Mm-hmm.
kind of fragmented.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
more of the, once you're in the home, or once you're in the, once the affordable rentals are built, we oversee the monitoring to make sure that they're adhering to fair housing practices, and they're making sure that they're income qualifying people correctly.
Right.
That's a monitoring feature that the city has, but our department is not in charge of the development of the affordable homes. It's more
Right.
of the implementation.
Implementation.
I'm not even trying.
For the wait list for the apartments, you say it's 3 to 5 years, which is kind of normal. How many people is that?
So the city does not maintain a wait list. I get this question several
Okay.
times every day. The city does not maintain the wait
Right.
list. What they do is, when I give that information out to the public, I let them know that you have to contact each property manager. And when I've asked property managers that question, some of them will purge it annually. Some of them they will constantly purge. So if they call you 3 times and you haven't taken a unit, then you're off and you have to reapply to get back on. So the lists vary in size.
So we don't really have any idea.
No, they all do it a different way. They all purge them differently.
Wonder if we could work on that. So then we have no idea what age these people are. Some, like, majority could be seniors, we don't know.
Well, the ones that are, there's 7, right, for the affordable rental
Mhm.
complexes that we have that are 62 and older.
Okay,
You have to be 62
so
and
all
older
of
for
those
that.
folks.
Yeah,
Okay.
but, they can also go into affordable
Family.
rental complex that's not set aside
Yes.
for our seniors.
Family.
So we have 46 complexes in total that are rentals, that have rentals in them. Some of them have fair market rentals as well, and some of them are all affordable. For example, Adelante, that's our new one, is all affordable.
Which one is that?
Adelante on Fifth Street,
Okay.
that's all affordable. Whereas
So one
Adobe.
next to the post office, right?
Mhm,
Yeah, well, it looks like a very attractive development.
mhm.
So it's a mixture, you're saying? It's a mixture? then?
No, Adelante is
Oh,
not a
that's
mixture, it's all
100%
affordable.
affordable, okay.
Adobe is an example of one in West Davis that has a mixture
Oh, okay.
of fair market and affordable rentals.
I have some questions on the homeless.
Can I sit down now?
Thank you,
Yeah,
first of
yeah,
all,
of
thank
course.
you, you've been
Yeah,
wonderful, I
thank you.
really appreciate it. Are there, we should probably stay with you, but are there any more questions on this presentation before we go back to our original presentation? No? Okay. So you mentioned High Will Flats. senior housing for homeless people. I have never heard of that place before, like ever. And so could you, I am very familiar with Paul's Place. I have done a tour there, and I think it's an incredible facility. I'm really blown away by it, and we could use, as you probably know, 50 more of those in the city of Davis. But Highwell Flats, how many people are there? And can you just tell us a little bit more about that program?
Sure, so the city runs a winter shelter between December and March. And we do that mostly because the weather is a little bit rainier and colder. And during that time, we open a shelter for anybody that wants to. They just have to get all the medical that is needed and apply. But we run the winter shelter program. Paul's Place does the congregate sheltering, which means there's, I believe 10 beds, and it's in one big room, and they can get connected with services. We feed them a warm meal at night, and then they stay overnight, and then they're released every morning. Highwell Flats is non-congregate, so each, like sometimes we'll have a double or something, but that we open, and we try to keep around 10 rooms, and we reserve those for individuals that sometimes we work with Sutter Hospital and they release somebody from the hospital and they don't have a place to go, and we don't want, it's not appropriate to have them out in the cold because of a medical reason, and so for up to 2 weeks at a time, we will keep individuals housed at Highwell Flats, and where they can also get connected to services, and then they also do receive warm meals. So that's just part of our winter shelter program, but Highwell Flats is more specific for seniors, medically compromised individuals that, like the congregate sheltering might not be a right fit for those people.
It's where Motel 6 used to be. It is Motel 6.
It's the old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know where they go once it closes in March?
So, I mean, what we try to do is get as many connected with services and maybe even housing at that time. And then, I mean, a lot of them actually, in the congregate shelter, we don't necessarily always fill all the beds because a lot of people don't necessarily want to, because if they're in our housing, they have to follow the rules that we have in place. So just once we don't have the shelter open anymore, individuals are on their own, but they can still come to us to get connected with services. We still have the respite center that's open during the day to connect with services, and we still have our 2 homeless outreach individuals that will come out and try to connect people with services or whatever they need.
Is it mostly full in the winter? The
Highwell
Highwell Flats.
So Highwell Flats is usually pretty full, yes. We usually get individuals that, I mean, it's, they have their own room and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Highwell Flats is usually full. Paul's Place, where it's the congregate sheltering, not necessarily as full. I'm not sure about recently how many people we've been getting, but I can find out if you guys want to know and get that information back over to you guys.
I'm just curious, in a perfect world, what would it take to keep it open year round,
Yeah.
and what kind of fundraising campaigns or awareness we would need to do
Yeah.
to be able to make that happen?
So I know there have been conversations of that, but I'm not quite sure where they are. But that's also another thing that we can bring back to our manager.
Yeah.
She said that if there's any questions that we couldn't answer, we'll bring it back to her.
Very
And,
difficult ones.
Do we not also have the farm workers' cottages for our farm working community that is open during the summer. Am I right about that?
So that is a program done through Yolo County Housing,
Okay,
and they're separate from
Right.
this. Yes.
okay. I had just read on the new government website for the state of California that Yolo County's homeless population is up 68% from 2023. So it's from 2023, it's an 18-month period, our homeless population has skyrocketed by 68%. We're one of the smallest and poorest counties out of 58 counties in the state of California. One of the smallest and poorest, okay? So when I looked at everybody else, we were in the top 5 of homeless population in the state of California. Just astonishing, and I see it in our community. You mentioned the respite center, very controversial, very controversial. It happens to be in my daughter's neighborhood. It's open Monday through Friday, it's not open on the weekends, and my God, that's, tons of problems with that place, unfortunately, because of drug and alcohol abuse. They chose to put it between 2 liquor stores and a school. So, yeah, that place is a massive problem, which I won't go into. But I'm curious about HUD. I mean, we all know, my God, what is happening with the so-called government in this country. And HUD is a massive target. I'm not going to turn this into a big political rally, but your funding, I think at the very beginning you mentioned, is, you mentioned HUD grants and HUD funding. What percentage is 100% HUD funding for all these different homeless programs?
No, so part of the homeless programs in Respite Center are funded with general fund dollars. And like the programs, like I said, for CDBG grants, so the public services, and then some of like the ADA projects and some of the other funding, those are HUD funded. And then some of our home grants under the home program, which is kind of improvements and stuff to low-income housing, those are HUD funded also, and like public services. But we do have some general fund dollars also.
How much HUD money do we have a year
So
for
I
the city of
think
Davis?
this current fiscal year, we have, it's around a little more than $700,000, so it's not a ton of money.
Oh, yeah.
But, and we haven't been, we don't know if there will be an allocation for next year, or if we do, how much yet. So that has been on hold.
Marcia didn't want to bring up politics, and I agree with that, but in view of the current administration, are you expecting something to happen with HUD?
You know what, it's kind of up in the air right now. Right now, we do have our current year grant, and we were, the money was given to us. Future years, usually they kind of tell us an allocation for what we might receive in the future. We haven't heard anything yet, so that's kind of up in the air. We're hoping to hear something, but we haven't had any direction or information given to us yet.
The homeless outreach plan that you mentioned, can we access that? Is it on the city website or something?
Yes, so I believe, so we worked with the police department on that. It's like, so what it's kind of like a new code where it's like, I think what they're calling it, it has the official name of, what is it, encampment response protocol, but it's basically the ordinance that doesn't allow camping anywhere within the city, rather than before it was just like in the parks. If you see that little card that Hattie passed out, that is kind of what we're following, and we're sharing that information with, those cards are actually, they're giving them out, our outreach individuals, they're giving those out to like local businesses and stuff like that, so they know how we can respond.
And I brought a copy of the Homeless Strategic Fund. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. That's on the website also. There's a copy there.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I did see that.
So
Well, it
and-
looks well worth reading.
It is, so the homeless strategic plan was just approved last year, and so we're in the process of implementing it now. So, they will be they're creating a steering committee now, that is headed by 2 of our social services commission members. So they will be doing some outreach, really soon, and, they're getting people from the public, from organizations. So anybody that wants to apply to be part of that steering committee to implement the plan, is welcome to apply.
If there's any link for that, I would be very happy to distribute that.
Okay, so, I think they're still in the process, but I will forward that on to you.
Yeah.
What are the thoughts? I mean, Marcia mentioned the dramatic increase in homelessness in a very short period of time. What are the thoughts about why that's happening now? I mean, the economy hasn't changed that much. The weather hasn't changed. COVID is gone.
Yeah.
Why would there all of a sudden be this dramatic increase?
I think I was talking to our director, it's been a few months now, but they, had the law, the grants pass law, that passed, I'm not quite sure when, but it was for the state, and it kind of said that, it put the responsibility on local jurisdictions to move individuals along. And so there's just been a lot of shuffling, of individuals, because once, like, one jurisdiction, like, says, okay, you have to move along, we're getting more people that are moving along just all over the place, more than we did in the past.
There were a lot of protections from COVID that expired.
Yes.
And I think that had a big effect. It was kind of Band-Aid, you know, and just, and if the national trends are any indication, the vast majority of those individuals are older adults.
Yes,
We don't-
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
over
it's-
50.
It's really hard to know, how to help these particularly vulnerable people, because when you're homeless and you're 50, you're more like a 70-year-old in your health.
And also an increase in homeless veterans.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't understand why that should all of a sudden be happening.
Well, the VA
When there are all sorts of places where veterans can go,
Not
as you
enough.
see on this list of all of the veterans places. That's difficult to understand.
I will say Sacramento's housing population has dropped as ours has risen. But Salado County also has a very high increase in homeless population. It's at 58%. California has 188,000 homeless people. We have 30% of all the homeless people in the entire United States. And boy, do we see it, do we feel it? I'm just curious, have you guys done any work on what percentage are mental illness, drug addiction? Because I can say, driving past that respite center 3 or 4 times a day, most of the people there are definitely out of their mind. But I do see a lot of other homeless people, like down on G Street and that beautiful, multi-million-dollar plaza that we have, camping out there, who don't seem so out of their mind. Do we have any statistics on that? Like, 30% is drug addiction, 50% is alcoholism.
Not that I know of. I know,
I think the guys are keeping some of that information. There's like, I think there might be an internal dashboard of statistics that the homeless outreach coordinators are keeping track of. I can ask and we can talk to you about it.
So we have 2 full-time people that are on,
That are
that
out there
work
every day.
out in the community
Yes.
with the homeless population. And I know Communicare does a lot of work with them as well, a ton of really good work. So 2 full-time people. And do they work on the weekends too, or just Monday through Friday?
They're Monday through Friday.
Okay.
I think one thing to keep in mind is, whether it's substance abuse or which kind it is, alcohol or
Right.
drugs or mental health, they're really overlapping quite a bit.
Yes.
And we have seen a great change slowly wealth distribution in the country. It's not a sudden thing.
Absolutely.
And with that has come a reduction in mental health care. So we've had this clash, and I think that's a major driver of what we're seeing since COVID, again, that bump where people were hurting, but there were things in place that were working, and we're
Right.
bringing these numbers down, and the rug was pulled out
Yeah.
from under them, and here we are. So we know that those systems work when we fund them.
A question about appropriate responses. Just this morning, about 10 o'clock this morning, I came out the front of my house and across the street on the corner of Loyola and Pole Lane Road is a young woman standing there. And she was in her underwear. And she was swearing and shaking her hand. And she had her grocery cart. And then she sat down on the sidewalk and pulled on some tights. And then she pulled on another pair of workout pants on top of that. And then it looked like she was rolling up a sleeping bag and put it into a big pile and then put it on top of her cart. And all the whole time while this is going on, she's swearing and shaking her hands and pointing in different places, obviously having a psychic issue. And I was thinking while I was watching that this didn't happen, it didn't take more than a few minutes for all this to happen, and then she disappeared. She took off up the road. And I was thinking to myself, well, what should I do about this woman who obviously is having an issue? Do I have a responsibility to try to help her? Would I create more problems by trying to help her? Who could I pick up the phone and call about this? Should I call or what? You know, what's the appropriate response? I mean, I've never seen anything like this ever before, but it happened just this morning. So how does one deal with these sorts of issues?
Excellent
It
question.
shocked me. I mean, I didn't know what to do.
So what you can do in that situation is contact our homeless outreach coordinator, especially if it's Monday through Friday, and let them know, because they will go over there. They know every single homeless person that's living currently in Davis.
Yeah.
And especially if you can describe her in the area that she's in, they can go out there and see where she's at. If she needs a mental health clinician, they can get that person on board to help her. Or you can contact the non-emergency police number.
So how would I know to call that place?
That card, we're starting to distribute
I
these
know, but I'm
cards.
standing on the sidewalk and I
Right.
just see this happen.
Yeah,
How would I know?
so we're new at this, in terms of
Could
getting
you
that
just call the
information out.
police? Could
You
you
can
just,
always call the non-emergency number for the police, yeah.
yeah. I was just about to do that
Yeah,
when she disappeared.
yeah.
Well, I have read that Davis has a population, a homeless population of 480 individuals out of, say, a whole population, including the university, of 68,000. Is that accurate? Is it just around 500?
You know, I'm not sure, we don't do an official count every year. I think, and I'm not sure, we did an official count last year that was, for, HUD, but I don't think we have a number. That might be something that we're tracking along with our other statistics, and I could look into that to see.
I'm sure our homeless outreach has that.
Yeah, they
idea.
sound like a great resource.
Yes, they are.
You know, just to get up to snuff on all of this. They sound really good. Do they have a vehicle? Can they transport people? Your two people that are out in the homeless community, can they take people places, like to the hospital or?
I don't
Housing.
think they do transportation, I think they would call people for that. So we have contracts with Turning Point, and I know they had a contract with Community Care, I don't know where that is now, but they have community-based providers that they can call, and they have a mental health clinician. I think she is the person maybe from Community Care that's within the.
Yes, they have a new person, that's correct,
Yeah.
right.
So they have those resources where they can call and bring them to the people. I do not believe that our two gentlemen will transport people places.
But they do have on them bus passes.
Oh, great.
That they do hand out, or if there's somebody that might need transportation somewhere, we will try to find it for them.
And water bottles and sometimes some, packages of food, that sort of thing.
So do we have no homeless housing, no permanent homeless housing of any kind in Davis?
Well, Paul's Place, I mean, that,
Right,
that would be
okay.
the closest, yeah.
That was all built by community money, raised by the community, Paul's Place. 100% community funds for that. So, and do we have anything in the pipeline that we know of for permanent homeless housing? Like, I ended up weirdly in this literal trailer park recently off of Olive Drive. And I actually thought it was like a homeless community. Is that any kind of a project that's part of the city?
You know, I'm not sure, but that's one of the things that we can bring back to our manager and see if she can provide more information.
Okay.
I know they had talked about like the tiny housing thing, they were kicking
Correct.
around that. I'm not sure what ever happened for that.
So we have a lot of land, you know, in Davis. We have a lot of places that we could have a village for people who don't have homes, people who are living out of their cars.
Couldn't that just be homes then? Then that wouldn't be homeless.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. We would turn
Terminology.
yeah, turn it into a community of permanent housing
Permanent housing.
for people who have no other place to live. And then that becomes a whole new community. And it is happening in other places, and I'm sad to say this, some of the best places it's happening are in Texas. I read all the time about how people are solving homeless issues, and there's permanent housing being established for communities in some of the red states that put us to shame in California. Because we just keep,
Yeah, well, I think what Texas is doing, they built quite a tiny home community.
correct, there are several in Texas.
And
Yeah.
in California, a tiny home is $30,000 to $50,000 to build. And it's California set aside $300 million for 2025 for the counties, to finance the counties dealing with homelessness specifically. And like I said, tiny homes, it's, if you want to build something, and let's say in Davis, it's
Right.
this empty land
Right,
in between Covell and Market. It's like a couple acres there.
right, tons.
But on two sides, there are high-rises that people have been living in for quite some time. But if you want to build a high-rise, you're gonna hit NIMBY. Because you're taking away their view that they've had. And they don't want a bunch of homeless people there. But with tiny homes, you're not impacting them, and not only that, you could have a community garden.
Yes, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get the people to participate. So your neighbors participate.
Right.
And yeah, you could do things like once a month have a music night.
Exactly,
But,
create a true community. Right, I love those kind of,
But there's money that California set aside to deal specifically. And you know, my interest is senior citizens age 65 plus
right,
who are homeless. A lot of these people, they can't go to shelters because when you're 65 plus, you start having certain medical conditions that you have to have your own room.
right,
I mean, people with an overactive bladder,
right,
they can't afford adult diapers.
right.
They need to be in their own room and have quick access to a bathroom. Now, California is rating the counties and how they deal with homelessness, and a lot of your statistics on homelessness in Yellow County, they can be found in accessibility.ca.gov.
Right,
And Yellow County's, the 58 counties, we're not only at the bottom,
right,
it's getting worse.
Yeah.
And your statistics came from that.
exactly.
In Yellow County, 942 people experiencing homelessness. That's up 27.8%. 633 people are unsheltered, up 67.5%.
From when?
And
2023.
983 total year-round beds, down 16.4%.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And if you look at the other counties, they're making progress,
Yeah.
and we're getting worse.
Yeah,
But that $300 million that California set aside
right,
to deal with them, you have to apply for it. Now, for 2025, it's $300 million. For 2026, it's $0. And that's when the real ratings are gonna come in. Because there's gonna be no money. If you didn't apply for it this year, well, next year you're out of luck. And all the other counties are gonna apply, and they'll be dealing with it. And like I said, a tiny home in California, $30,000 to $50,000 to build. And that money also goes for, acquiring the land. But Yellow County is really doing nothing.
no, we're not gonna make this our
Thank you.
problem. Our problem is, it's like we should be going to the board of supervisors and talking to them about this issue. So, Maria,
Yeah.
yeah, wrap it up?
Thank you guys again so
Thank you
very,
so
very much.
You
And
said you had questions for us.
Oh,
I think that would be useful.
Oh,
We could
yeah.
yeah,
be of help.
well,
I'd like to do that.
yeah. Because you talk to a lot of seniors, I was kind of wondering what they're saying about income levels. Are some of them feeling like they make like this much too much to get in some of those affordable rental complexes, like they're just over the income level and that's making it difficult? Are they concerned more for themselves? Are they concerned about their children and grandchildren not being able to buy in Davis? I was wondering if people like this lady that was here just earlier, who knows of friends who are trying to move into Davis, some of them are from, I get calls all the time from people in Kansas that are probably paying income for a home, and they're trying to get an affordable home here, to be near their children. So I was just kind of wondering if you were hearing the same sort of stories that are making it difficult.
I wish we could do a survey.
yeah.
I don't actually.
I have a lot of information because I live in the one so-called affordable community in Davis. I live in Rancho Yellow. And I moved out of here from London, and I had 3 days to buy a house as close to my daughter as possible. We had a family emergency. And so, lickety split at first, I'm like, okay, this, nope, 800,000, this, no. It costs more to move here than in the outskirts of London, let's say. I mean, this was 5 years ago, during COVID, by the way. So I ended up in Rancho Yellow, which I love. I'm very happy to be there. But in the 5 years that I've lived there, 11 women, all women, have had to move because the rents keep going up, because you can't get any insurance. I just renewed the insurance on my modular home this month, actually. And just to insure it for $380,000, which is nothing, it's costing me $1,680 a year. So for my place there, rent is $885 a month, and then you have all your utilities, blah, blah, all packaged together. Just your housing costs in Rancho Yellow now is $1,500 a month. All right, the average Social Security is $1,700 a month, and I actually know women who that's all they have to live on. We have the president of our association out there, an incredible woman, a volunteer for the community, and she is is now living in her RV on somebody else's property. So I hear constantly where I live, and it's almost always women, it's senior women, mostly women in their 70s, I want to say, who come to me looking for solutions. That's why I know so much about all the city with housing, because I'm always trying to help these women find an affordable place to live. And it's just crazy. It's crazy. So everyone says, oh, Rancho Yolo is so affordable, but it's really not affordable if you think it's going to take your entire Social Security to live there. You know, it's just terrifying. And I've met a few people who've gotten into these flats in town, these senior flats. Took forever though, just forever. You know, years, like you said, 1 to 5 years. I don't know anybody who probably took like 3 years. And in the meantime, the rents at Rancho Yolo go up 3.9%, 4.3% every year, up. And these women are just terrified that they're choosing between eating and having hot water. So it is a massive problem, and it's a massive elder woman problem. That, you know, is not gonna be easily resolved. That's why I'm so eager for those 150 flats. I keep telling everybody, we've got 150 affordable flats, but I'm also concerned that the builder's gonna buy it out, you know, and make them not be affordable flats, because it sounds like that would be a possibility. Would that be a possibility? If it was approved for 150 senior flats at Bretton Woods, and then the builder, and I know it's changed a million times, but could they then go to the city, no, we don't want to make affordable flats, so we're gonna pay you this money and open it up for the market?
I think that's a question for the community development department.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm sorry that we don't have more.
That's okay. Any more questions?
Did you,
Just one more thought. So I always have a conflict in my mind about how one deals with homeless situation. And on the one hand, you can provide free housing, but that's a disincentive to get out of being homeless if I have free housing. But you can't possibly provide enough free housing for everybody who's on the street. And you mentioned that you did have counseling services and you can help people get out of their situation. So could you say more about how that works and what that amounts to? How do you deal with that?
Sure, so we do have, we can connect with services, so we have the 2 outreach people that go out, and we have like services that will get them medical and try to connect them with just any, like a caseworker. We have them that go out. We also have, I mentioned before, we have a downtown streets team, and they are a consultant that we have in town, and they run, not only do they have the respite center, so individuals that go to the respite center can get connected with services and caseworkers, but we also have downtown streets team that they run kind of like a program that individuals that connect with them can, they kind of pick up trash around town, and in turn for the trash pickup, they get paid in gift cards. And then on top of that, they also have somebody that comes out that does like resume services and caseworker and like connections to housing and stuff like that on top of that. So we have people that are trying to outreach to individuals that might just need a little bit of help in like job searches or getting connected to social services out trying to, and then also Paul's Place, we would refer them to Paul's Place because they also provide those similar services to just get people connected with anything they need.
So this street team, are they walking around downtown, or what?
I've seen them.
How would
They
you
do.
know them?
They wear special vests.
They
They
do?
do.
They wear identity vests.
Yeah.
They're very
You've-
visible.
You've seen them?
Many times, yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
downtown quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think they're really visible. And I will say they do a very good job.
Yeah.
I've been super impressed. I've watched them in action, and they are
I
a
need to-
great
I need to
team,
look for them.
great resource.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question, I don't know, curious, we talked about the affordable rental, right, and then the affordable YOLO. And are they different in their affordability? So in other words, you said, some of the folks where you are want to get
Right.
on the waiting list, but if this is at 50%, that's a $40,000 income. Yes.
Right.
So what would the income, what would you have to pay per month?
That varies per place, depending on whether they're tax credit, whether they're accepting
Vouchers.
housing choice vouchers. Yeah, it really varies from place to place.
But roughly.
Yeah. I don't know, because
Okay.
you don't have to be making 50%, you have to be making 50% or
Or
under.
less, yeah.
Or under. So a lot of them will take 30% of the person's income.
Okay.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
even so, that's quite a bit.
It's a lot.
Social Security is only intended to be 30% of your income.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if somebody could live here.
And we have Pacifico too. We haven't brought that up. That has about 10 people that are in the situation, Thomas, that you were talking about, where they really don't have any income to provide, or very, very low income.
Pacifico?
Pacifico. It houses about 10 people that pay a very, very minimal amount of rent to stay there. It's a dorm, so it's currently a dorm situation, where there's a common kitchen, a common living room, and they each have individual bedrooms.
This for seniors?
A lot of seniors do live there. It's not specifically for seniors. It actually started as a student housing, affordable student housing years ago. That's what it was initially built for. That's why it's dorm style. And right now, we're just using it for that population that we see potential to get off the streets, to get into housing, to get them help them with finding a job and moving them into more permanent housing.
Maybe that's something that could be expanded if that's successful. Right?
Is that on any of these lists, or no? That's
I didn't put it on there because they have to be referred
Okay.
to. A lot of them have some mental impairment.
okay.
Yeah,
So it's called Pacifico?
Pacifico.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a dorm style,
It is.
but it's permanent housing? Could people stay there permanently?
Yeah, they've stayed there for, we've only been around a few years, but it's the same population. I handle their rent payments. They, give them to the city and then we process them. So I see what's coming in, and it's the same population, generally speaking.
Wow, that's good to know about. This list that you gave us, I believe this list, Lisa, on this one, it is a 30% of your income. So if you're, woman, you have 1,700 Social Security, that's all the money that you have. It's still a lot. You're still gonna take like $580 a month, plus your utilities, your Wi-Fi, blah, 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 blah. But isn't that how this works? Is the
Yeah.
third
It depends, it depends
30%?
You'd have to talk to each one, but it depends on how they are funded and their funding source of payment.
Okay, so each one will be different?
Each one may be different. They may all be the same on that list. It's the same with the other lists. It depends on their funding source, how they're set up. So some of the agreements will say, we'll take people at 50% IMI, and then I don't know exactly how they calculate it, and some of them are straight 30% of their income, but you can't go above 50%. I hope that
The
makes sense.
AMI. Well, I mean,
The
sometimes
AMI.
it's
Yeah,
normalized on what the average is, income below that, and other times it's their income.
yeah, and some of them will take the housing choice voucher, so then they don't, it might not be 30% of their income. That's what I'm trying to explain. They might have funding from other sources. Like I know, some of them at Pacifico have funding from YCCC.
From where?
Yolo County.
Yellow Community Care Continuum.
Care, thank you. You wanna say that again?
Yellow Community Care Continuum.
Okay, yes, Care Continuum.
They're having a It's this fundraising thing on Thursday, starting at 4 p.m. at Outpost Burgers. And if you go and order something and you just say YCCC, 15% of that goes to Y'all Community Care Continuum.
That's great.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you very much. Any more questions for our guests?
Did you have any more for us?
No.
You don't dare, right? Oh, gosh, thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming and filling this in. It just sounds like we have a big patchwork of places that we need to cobble together.
Yeah, well, the system is fractured.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Not just housing, but
Yeah.
medical care, mental health, the whole thing.
Right,
So you get bounced from here to here to here to here.
right.
And it's very difficult, especially on homeless senior citizens.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Bye-bye. Yeah, I hear you, Jeffrey. I hear you
Okay.
loud and clear about that. Okay, so that was great. Maria, thank you so much for setting them up for us.
Yeah, and I'll
I'm
follow
really
up with
grateful.
some of the, you had some great questions, and I know Jennifer had some information, and then for the steering committee, it'd be wonderful to have, representation there, so I'll make sure to forward that.
I'm going to volunteer myself for
There you
that.
go, and it sounds like if it's just considered members of the general public, it doesn't have to be limited to anyone, it could be as many people wanna, participate as
They
possible.
need to hear from us.
Yeah,
They
it's great.
really need to hear from us because they're not keeping up, and I know it's not just a Davis problem, it's a Yolo County problem, but my God, are we in trouble, especially having no money next year for a lot of these programs?
Well,
Yeah.
and it won't matter if they don't apply this year to get some of that money.
And are you saying they're not applying, or are you saying
No,
that,
they're not applying.
do we know why?
Don't know.
You talking about the HUD money?
No. Talking about, not the HUD money, because that's
The state of California
iffy.
money,
But this is state of California money.
Newsom's money.
I mean, if you don't apply for it,
Yeah.
you don't get it. And next year it's 0.
Maybe we're not submitting for it, to be honest, because we can't, abide by the new requirements,
Mhm.
which is no camping in the streets, no living on G Street Plaza, and maybe we're not willing, to do that, which then makes us a very friendly place for everybody who's, living on the streets.
Yeah, now with that, when was that police ordinance passed? About 3 months ago, 4 months ago? Where now they can enforce this camping thing.
But she said in the early introduction of this that we have not here in Davis enforced it with anybody yet. That has not happened in this community. I'm reading this happening in a lot of other communities all the time, but it's not happening here. We're not enforcing it. So perhaps the city has decided that Davis will be a place where people can come and live on the streets.
No, it's the opposite. The ordinance was passed,
No, I understand the state of California.
no, the ordinance passed in Davis
Oh, okay,
that the police now can move these people.
right,
And, people living where people are camping, they don't like that.
Right. right.
But they don't know to call, this non-emergency number, they'll just call 911.
Right. Okay, thank you for that, Jeffrey. Thank you for the education. So, okay, to wrap things up here on our regular items, we have outreach to senior housing communities for 2025. And I'm sure everybody remembers when we all voted that May and October, we would go off-site. And thanks to Maria's hard work, not mine, but Maria's, the library is willing to welcome us for the May meeting, But, well, I'll just read what Maria wrote here for me. So they're willing to welcome us for May, which is on the 13th, but they're asking if we can have our meeting 10:30 until 12 noon. And the reason is the big room is available at that time, but also that there's going to be about a dozen seniors already there at the library for a different meeting. And she said we would have a lot of company for that commission meeting, because those people could just come in and join us for our regular meeting. So,
We also
Except, I do wanna just clarify, our regular meeting would have been the 13th, but this older adult group that meets would be on the 8th, so if we wanted to come at
oh,
the time.
sorry, Maria,
Yeah.
sorry.
So May 8th, you mean?
May 8th at 10:30 to noon, right?
Yeah, or starting at 10:30, and then it's as long as people have any questions.
Yeah, and
Oh.
you have homeless people sleeping in the library during the day.
Right, you all have seen it many times.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm gonna read what Maria wrote. The older adult groups meet on May 8th from 10:30 to noon. If our commission would like to meet on the 8th, then we would have about a dozen of those seniors to speak with, which I think is a great idea. So this is gonna be put out to vote for all of us, you guys. If we would rather keep the May 13th time, Maria's saying that I'm not sure if they will have many community members attending. I'll reserve the large Blanchard room, yeah, that room can hold like up to 100 people, for May 13th from 1 to 3 just in case. Regardless of which date we determine, the agenda will be a brief introduction of commissioners and staff, followed by questions and comments from the public. Staff will ensure we provide publicity in our newsletter and library and social media for better attendance, and will bring a description of the commission from the city's website. We can also encourage the group to submit any questions to us by the Thursday before the meeting. So I think that sounds fantastic. Are we available, on all of us available on May 8th?
At 10:30.
Right.
I am, the three of us aren't here, but.
I am also available.
Yeah, I can make myself available as well. So Jeffrey, are you available on May 8th?
sure.
10:30 to noon, excellent. Okay, all in favor of us meeting at the library on May 8th, moving our meeting to May 8th from 10:30 until noon, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Excellent, thank you so much for that.
But this would be mailable if the three other people
Could-
couldn't do it, right?
Can we make it like a formal motion? Just a motion to have just because I don't have a first and a second there.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna make a motion that our next meeting for the senior commission be held at the main library on May 8th from 10:30 until noon.
A
Is that an
second?
aye?
Is there a second?
Second?
Okay.
Okay.
And now,
Bravo.
I got it. And Lisa, to your question, I will check in with other commissioners, but we will have a quorum. I know Ryan has been back and forth about his availability and stuff, and you're right that Leilani may, and Commissioner Gavin may or may not be available, but as long as we have a good
Somebody could be
representation.
sick though, I mean, that's one thing.
Right, we'll make sure we have, yes, you're absolutely right, we'll have to make sure we have a quorum too, and so, yeah. And so that, yeah.
Right, but you gotta come to me if you wanna vote, right? So, okay, so our next meeting, upcoming, item number 7, upcoming agenda topics. Next meeting, will be at the library, as we all decided. And Maria will send us the details for that. And I think that's gonna wrap it up for today, unless anybody have any more questions or comments.
Just an observation. I came to Davis in 1972 as an assistant professor at UC Davis, and my salary was $12,000 a year. at that time, I was advised that if you buy a house, you shouldn't go more than 3 times your salary.
Right.
So we got a house for $32,000. Still live in the same house. The house that I saw that I having sticker shock over, that 1,200 square foot house for
Yeah.
$700,000. If that 3 times rule is still true, you'd have to be making, over $150,000, almost $200,000 a year
Right.
in order to move into a house, a beginner house in this town. How the hell does that make any sense?
Doesn't.
You can't come in as a sort of beginner person
No.
and
That's
make
why.
that kind of
You're
salary.
right. That's why we're a city of students and elders like ourselves, and then there's hardly anything in between. I mean, it's really, really shocking. My daughter and son-in-law have had a house here that they own, for
Should we-
24 years.
Should we just adjourn the meeting just for the,
Yes,
okay,
sorry.
adjourn the meeting?
Meeting adjourned